and the drinks are on my mind. The decision sets in, one that will churn your skin. The lover's right, let them have their time. And I have this notion, let's keep these wheels in motion. In motion. You thought I did not know. Did you think I would let it go? Oh no. And in time, yes, I'll think it's absurd, but until then you'll leave your words. But lay on, lay on. Now it's time to defend your lies, lies you've been feeding me all this time. And will you reoffend? Oh darling, you say that you are innocent, but your words, they seem irrelevant, but still play on. Now it's time to defend your lies, lies you've been feeding me all this time. And will you reoffend? Oh darling, will you have reached your lover's end? No more will we make pretend like we something to fight for. Oh. We had nothing to fight for. 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 you wanted was love, but that was never enough. No, never enough. 'Cause you were chasing your dreams, now you can't redeem yourself. You were chasing your dreams, now you can't redeem yourself. Disregarding your name, your smell is all that remains. They say you're an SLUT, but that doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with me. What you'd say, we're all looking to be alone. And somehow, someday, we'll find what we're looking for. Till then, you'll still be a boy.
Good evening, race fans. I'm Pirate here, Black Flag Racing TV. How the bloody hell are we all today? And for some reason I've got this feeling back in my ears and it's really, really annoying. Hold the line, caller, while I just sort that fucking problem out right now. That's better. So how are we all? Are we enjoying this lovely Wednesday evening? What we got tonight? Right, it's the Open GR3 at Spa, round number 4, and it's a doozy, an absolute doozy of a race ahead of us, particularly following how it turned out on Monday. So first thing to do is we need to look at the current standings. It's really annoying because my own voice is feeding back in my ear and it's doing my freaking head in. Right, so this is where we stand from last week. Monkey Man Macho 64 points, BFeR 46 on 50 in second place, Wendigo and Wiggy joint third on 46, 44 points for Arminis Paskozas on 40 points, Avalon on 32, the Lithuanian contingent dominating the top 6. Rose is in there on 25, joined with Fubar, Pleasurecraft 3 points behind on 22 points. How you doing, Arminis? Good evening. Good evening indeed. Right, but I promised you something very special. So we are running a combined competition, which is essentially a manufacturer's competition. So you've got the GR3 and the GR4 holding hands, and this is how it looks thus far. That's how it looks after 4 rounds in the GR4 and just 3 rounds in the GR3. So that will change today. Monkey Man Macho is on the top of the tree. Who's on the top of the tree? That's his top of the tree. Monkey Man Macho. Of course, BFeR46 is in second. Wendigo in third. Wiggy in fourth. Arminis in fifth place. FUBAR in sixth. Roses already up into seventh. He's had only a couple of races, but good performances, which has put him right up in seventh place. Still plenty of racing to go though this season. That will change even today, I would imagine. So we're going to jump straight in to some qualifying, because that's what's going on right now. So there we go. Straight into qualifying we go. There you can see round 4 GR3 Championship at Spa. We're actually using the correct version of the racetrack today. On Monday we use the 24-hour one. But, and I don't know why I've done that. I need to exit. No, I don't. Yeah, if you're stuck, you need to exit and then come back in. That's the only way you can sort out that problem. Right, so on track we have GMAC, Stormfly, Wiggy's out there, Avalon in the, of course, the Porsche 911. What other car would he be in? Slipstream in the Mercedes AMG, and that's the one we're using for the endurance event at the weekend at Bathurst. With a little twist, he's taken the red and he's turned it pink. So his missus has washed that car with some whites, and that's why the red is now pink. Arminis in 7th position at the moment, but still got a set hot lap. He's on the he's in that 650S McLaren. Pleasurecraft is in the Mustang. Wendigo, he's in the Lamborghini Hurricane today. He's going to hurry up. Hurry, hope so. Aussie, of course. What other car would Aussie be in other than the Jaguar? FUBAR, also in that Lamborghini. Great performance from him on Monday. Absolutely phenomenal driving. Monkey is in the Jaguar also. Paz Kozas is in the 911, and the real Slim Shady is also in the 911. So awesome. There are 13 runners this evening. So a couple jumping in lastminute.com that we weren't expecting. Love that when that happens. It would be easier if we knew in advance it was coming, but not going to complain at this stage because it's awesome. Still feeding back into my own ears, which is horrible. I will try and find a way around that at some stage, because I can't hear the cars, but I can hear myself, and it's not nice. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Fully expecting to see a really good battle between Stormfly and Wendigo and Monkey Man. You saw on Monday, essentially the one stop was the way forward. So those drivers that kind of hung out there and one stop it and didn't burn through those tyres early on and made sure they could get one less pit stop, they were the ones that prevailed. And we saw some brilliant tactical decisions, which bumped some people up the order for a brilliant race on Monday. And looking forward to seeing something similar today. Now, it's been odd strategy from Wendigo in the GR3 so far. What we've noticed is that he, for some reason, in the GR3, he's gone for this strategy of lots of pit stops with very short pit stops, and it hasn't really worked out that well. Conversely, Arminis has done some brilliant tactical decisions, pitting early and such like, to give himself a bit of an advantage. So it'll be interesting to see if anything changes today. If Wendigo's noted that that's just not working as a strategy, and sort of goes more like what the others are doing and just relies on pace, and if Arminis continues with his really smart strategy of pitting early. So let's have a little look. You see who is doing what. So on the front row we've got Wiggy with a 2:17.5 in that BMW. This is the same BMW along with the AMG that the guys will be using Over the weekend, do catch it if you can. Look up the Endurance Racing Federation, the ERF, and they've got their 12 hours of Bathurst this week, where we've got 2 teams competing. One in this BMW M6. Well, not necessarily this one. It'll be a different one because I'm not sure this is the Sprint or the Endurance model, but it's this car anyway. And also in this car, the brilliant AMG GT3. Now I don't know if that's the 2020 version. We'll be racing in the 2016 AMG 2016 AMG GT3 for that. So yeah, do check it out. It will be broadcast live from the ERF, not on Black Flag Racing TV. Well, not listen. They haven't approached me as yet, so I won't be doing it. And if I do, it'll be on Black Flag Racing TV as well as the ERF, not instead of. So, full rundown, shall we? Wiggy. I think I just breathed in too much. Wiggy's on pole, but only just 1.5 tenths ahead of Stormfly, who is half a second up from Wendigo, who's heading up row 2, along with his compatriot Pleasurecraft. Pleasurecraft. And then, currently heading up row 3, I should probably be careful in case I get a copyright infringement. I don't want to get one of them. Surely the village people are not as big bellends as some people are out there, and they'll let that go. To be fair, I've sung it enough. I'm sure they've sold 1 or 2 more copies since then off the back of that. I'm actually creeped out thinking about the video, to be honest. He's currently, he was on row 3, he's not anymore. As people start chucking in times, he's down on row 4 behind Avalon in the 911. He heads up row 4 at the moment and getting some good pace out of there. Can he just, it just seems to be a kind of a couple of tenths off the pace at the moment, off his usual pace. Can he kind of crawl his way back up there into the top 5, top 6, where we usually expect to see him? He's only occasionally banging on the door of that top 3. Just a couple of minutes left to qualify. One more lap, really. There's Wiggy facing the wrong direction. Currently still on pole, and he's got even quicker still with a 2:16.9. That's not what Stormfly and Slipstream will want to see. Stormfly with a 2:17.1 in that Alpha 4C. Slipstream in that AMG with a 2:17.6. G-Mac on the second row. He is in that's the McLaren 650S. Monkey Man Macho, he's in back up to row 3 in that Jaguar. Wendigo in the Lamborghini, struggling a little bit in this GR3. Absolutely dominant around here in the GR4 on Monday, but struggling a little bit today in the GR3. Down on the pace and down in 4th. Pleasurecraft in that Mustang, he's joining Wendigo on row 4. Row 5 is Paz Kozas in the 911 with Avalon, so 2 911s on the 5th row of the grid. Fubar on row 6. He's alongside Aussie Rooster in the other Jaguar. And Arminis really not getting anywhere near the top quality times we saw from him on Monday. Obviously, clearly, going to be a little bit quicker here. But he's in that McLaren 650S as well. So are we seeing a bit of a sea change? Is the difference in class really that different for the cars? Are they performing that much differently between the two? Well, you could argue that actually it is. I mean, if you look at the statistics, bear it out right now. If you look at it, yes, Stormfly's still up there. Wiggy actually really, really good performance in that BMW. He's actually improved a bit. Slipstream's improved. He's in the AMG, but he's not racing in both tournaments, I don't think. So, no, he can't be because he drove a different car on Monday. He took her for a drink on Tuesday. Monkey Man Macho currently leads the Manufacturers Championship. So he's the current GR4 leader. He's the current Manufacturers leader. and he's the current GR3 leader. So he is the target, but at the moment is half a second off the quickest time out, and that is, of course, Stormfly. VR46. Now, it looks to me like he might have done a 15-minute qualifying instead of a 10. Doesn't matter. No matter. Oh, no, it must be a 10 because it says final lap. And there it is. So he is currently on pole with a 2:16.8. Nabs that pole from Wiggy. Wiggy just outside that time. Literally 0.07 of a second slower. But really, really solid time from him in that BMW. And if you can hold on for a while, could see an interesting finish from Wiggy. Especially off the back of his 16 hours at Le Mans. If it was Le Mans, I think he'd be a shoo-in to win this. After like some 200 laps or something over the weekend. Slipstream in the AMG. I love this car. I love it. It's a beautiful, beautiful car. Currently sitting on road 2, 2:17.0. Significant improvement every single lap. All those gains, that's what makes a difference. If you can do lap after lap after lap and get that a little bit better, who knows? Can he nick the front row? He's coming into that bus stop chicane. He's got 2 corners to go to nick the front row. It looks to me like it's going to be pretty darn close. He comes across the line and it is... well, it's not pole, but it is the front row. 3,000ths of a second between him and Stormfly. That is darn close, boy. Darn close. So that pushes Wiggy off the front row down to road 2. So there we have it. It is a foregone conclusion, I think. Is Aussie done? Looks to be that Aussie is done. What about Wendigo? Is Wendigo still running? Wendigo is not running any longer. Shady's done. Avalon's done. GMAC is done. Paz Kozas is done. Monkey Man Macho is done. So everybody has run their hot lap. I think he's done. It looks like he might be. Yeah, he's definitely done because he's going slowly. So what are we waiting for, folks? What are we waiting for? Someone must be going quick still because the room's still ticking away. There we go. Done and done and done and done and done. Right, so there we have it. Let's do the full run through of the grid for you this evening. They're going to start half tank of fuel. They've got to use 2 compounds of tyres, whether that be the soft and the mediums. That would make the most sense. Who knows? Tyre 3 wear on both. Stormfly takes pole in that Alfa Romeo 4C from Slipstream in the Mercedes AMG GT3 2016. Wiggy in the GT3 M6 Sprint is on road 2. He's got Monkey Man Macho in the F-Type alongside him for company. Paz Kozas in the 911 has got GMAC for company on row 3. Avalon and Shady, they round out row 4. Let's screenshot that. Wendigo, bad qualifying from him. That's going to be a big dent into his championship hopes. He's in the Huracan on row 5 with his compatriot Pleasurecraft in that Mustang GR3. Fubar and Huracan on row 6 alongside Aussie Rooster in the F-Type. And at the rear of the pack, Harmonist in the 650S. Couldn't get the time down, so it's interesting to say the least. But an hour of racing ensues, and who knows what can happen over the next hour of racing here at Spa-Francorchamps in the GT3 class. That's 3 lights, that's 4, that's 5. They'll go out and away we go. Stormfly gets a good start, as does Slipstream. Nobody looks to be making any moves on up from where they started anyway, into La Source for the first time. And Slipstream and Stormfly looking really hot right now. You would have thought that Stormfly's performance around here, bearing in mind we're back anyone that raced in Fusion, should be a little bit better around here, considering they've done a lot of laps. Into Ready on an Eau Rouge they go. And look at that. That's how you go through without punting everyone behind you. It is possible. It can be done. We've just seen it happen. Harmonist, though, he got a little bit squirrely out of the source by the looks of it, because he is only just going through there now. Pleasurecraft, he's got a half-second penalty. Looks like he took slightly wrong line through there. Wendigo gets a run on Aussie. Can he make that move stick? He does. He's back up to 10th. Fubar is in 9th, so there's two Lamborghinis running 9th and 10th. Avalon in 8th place. He's about 2/10 behind GMAC. GMAC had a terrible drop down the order from his qualifying right at the start, but he's down to 7th with Paz Kozas ahead of him in 6th. Monkey Man Macho. That'll do. He's up to 5th. He's got Wiggy ahead of him in 4th. Shady, Wicker Slim Shady, he's up to 3rd. That is a catapult forward if I've ever seen one. Really, really good performance from him to get himself into that top 3. But there's a lot of racing to go. And out in the lead, it's Stormfly. He's got Stormfly and Slipstream, both with penalties. Neither of them are going to benefit. They'll drop a little bit back towards Shady, but I shouldn't think it will cost them enough time for that to make a difference. Now, are these two working together a little bit to knock up the road there? Slipstream makes the move on Stormfly. He just seemed he had so it almost seemed that with that half-second penalty, he had much less loss than Stormfly did, coming out of the penalty and getting back on the power. So Slipstream takes the lead at the end of lap 1. Through the bus stop chicane they go, heading down towards La Source for the first proper full speed time, and into the turn they go. Can Stormfly make a move, or is he just going to stay tucked in behind and use the Slipstream up the Kemmel Straight to make that move? At the moment it looks like Slipstream has got just that edge of speed over Stormfly at the moment. He's almost out of Slipstream range completely, and this is a beautiful shot coming through there. Looking backwards already, 1.7 seconds just coming over the brow of the hill. That's Shady, who's nicked his way into that top 3. So that as they head up towards the top of the Kemmel Straight for the second time in this 1 hour race, you see Slipstream turning in, the gap down to about 6/10, but he's not close enough at the moment, Stormfly, to make any move on him as yet. That may change. Tyres and fuel, let's have a quick look before we cover it all over. Soft and soft, a medium for Shady. He's going to get those out of the way early. Now, that might not actually be a terrible strategy here, because the soft tyres are going to be so much quicker. But that said, also, these cars are quicker, so there's also going to be a lot more wear on those tyres. So I think it's going to be a halfway point of this race before we really see what would have been the optimum strategy. Wiggy also running those mediums. He wants to get them out of the way. Avalon also. Paz Kozas, yes, medium tyres. G-Max on the mediums. Wendigo, he's on the soft. He's got to make these pay off, and the only way he makes these pay off is getting 4 or 5 places in these first few laps before his first pit stop, because he started way down the order. He has gained 2 places already, but we'll want to gain a few more before this race is over. Fubar running in 9th position, Pleasurecraft in 10th, Monkey Man Macho is in 11th with Harmonist in 12th, and Aussie Rooster bringing up the rear in 13th place. I'm just trying to find, there's something open that's playing the mic back in my ear, and it's really annoying. So Slipstream does lead the way still. It's 9/10 of a second ahead of Stormfly, who's vying to try and get back to the top of the championship table. Remember, the championship you've seen it thus far does not include any dropped rounds. So every competition, the GR4 will have one, the GR3 will have one, which essentially means that 2 rounds will be dropped off the manufacturer, or 1 round, but it could be over 2 different races. I could be really cruel and say you're only allowed to drop 1 round one week, but that would be a silly way of doing it. So essentially you'll drop a round off the GR4 and a round off the GR3, which would be worst performing. So if you didn't turn up to a race, that's the one you lose. If you had a particularly bad race, that's the one you lose. But that's what we're going to do. And then but we won't do that until after race number 9. So the final race is undroppable. You're either in it or you're not. You can drop any round up to round 9. Of course, you can't change your car either. And Ricardus actually going to pick up a penalty from Monday for running. Although he did still run a Nissan, he didn't run the same Nissan. He's previously running the GTR, and last night was in the Nissan Silvia. So that is pain in the arse. That's what it is. Massive pain in the arse for me, because I didn't want to have to give out a penalty, but no choice was given. So there we go. There's your 2 leaders. It's Slipstream 1.3 from Stormfly. Shady is 2 seconds back in 3rd, but a nice big gap back to Wiggy, and Shady in a really good position at the moment. And bearing in mind he's on those medium compound tyres in that 911. Is this Shady's perfect car and track combo? Everybody's got one. It might not necessarily make you beat the world best, but you'll be better on that than anything else. I need to top up my vape with some more juicy juice, which is right in the back of this cupboard. Here we go. Right, so Shady in 3rd, then Wiggy in that BMW running in 4th. He's already got himself a nice little gap over Paz Kozas. He's also running in 911. The 911's actually not struggling too badly here. You can see Paz Kozas up to 5th, and we've got Avalon up to 6th, which is probably I think a season high for him at the moment. He's coming back into this and starting to feel the rhythm. Feel the rhythm, feel the ride. What's called Rannings, man? When's he coming back? When you coming back, man? Soon, I hope. There we go, done. So Paz Kozas in 5th, Avalon in 6th. Behind him is GMAC, and he's right behind him. I mean, literally right behind him. That's not the button I wanted. That's the button I wanted, and that's the button I wanted. As GMAC really trying to close down the back of Avalon. He got such a good run through there. He's right on the back of Avalon all over again. So round they come. He's going to have to back off just a little bit. You don't want to get stuck in the dirty air through this little section. Down on the power, little blast, touch your brake just to get that car turned in, and then head down. You got Pouillon coming up on your left hand side. This is an opportunity now to start ramping it up behind Avalon, closing that gap down to within a couple of tenths, so when they pull out onto Blanchimont, potentially getting a move done before they get to the bus stop chicane. And you can see ahead there, that's Wiggy trying to make a move on Shady. Do we have 2 potential moves on here? GMAC on Avalon and Wiggy on Shady, heading down to the right hand that leads you into Blanchimont. They go, and this getting closer and closer, this little battle that's currently raging for. So he's not on the back of Shady, is he? That would be lying. He's on the back of Paz Kozas. Shady's in that top 3. So this is the battle for 4th at the moment, and they're all heading down towards the bus stop chicane. Now the problem is here, any one of these makes a mistake into the bus stop, they're out of this battle, they're out of this fight for 4th. You've got to be so careful, and they're all on the medium compound tyres, so giving up just that little bit of grip compared to the softs, but allowing them the benefit of not having to use the medium tyres again for this race. Now it was definitely a little bit squirrely there. GMAC does get it back under control, but losing a little bit of time to Avalon, and you can see ahead the battle still raging on between Wiggy and Paz Kozas in front of him. And as we head up the hill, what sort of run does Wiggy get in that BMW, or is he just going to stay plonked in behind, save a little bit of tyre, save a little bit of fuel, be able to stay out that little bit longer, and then have more fuel to go racy later on into this event? Certainly not close enough there to make a move. Back in the pack, there's Arminis really struggling with that 650S. He has been in the pits early, of course, which is an ongoing strategy of his. So he went in at the end of lap 3. This is lap 4. so this time won't really show us what his representative pace is. But he's gone for that really early stop strategy that he's so and works so well for him. Did he just get disconnected? Oh, Harmon disconnected, and we didn't get a chance to see just how well that would have worked for him. Now, if you consider that Aussie was only 38 seconds up the road, and he's got a pit at the end of probably the next lap, it could have been game on. It could have been, but with a disconnection early on in this race, it's no game on for Harmonis. Pleasure Craft, as I've often told you, is the name that my missus gives my penis. And she's obviously recovering now from the abscess in her arm that she had to go to the hospital yesterday for, and it looks disgusting. I'm not even going to lie. If her arm had looked like that when I met her, we wouldn't have kids. Only kidding. I'm only kidding. Please don't hurt me. The current championship leader, Monkey Man Macho, not doing so well. Hey, get a bloody move on. He is on the medium tyres. Stormfly jumping into the pits nice and early, as does Shady. Slipstream staying out. Wicker. So Fubar and Monkey, they were very similar in strategy. In fact, almost identical in strategy on Monday, and it paid off for them because they both had a good finishing position off the back of that awesome strategy. In Fubar comes though, he's getting rid of those tyres early. This time, very different strategy from Monday. This is definitely, for me, 2-stop territories. No, there's no 1 stop in this one. Monkey Man up to 7th. Wendigo up to 6th. What's he going to do when he comes in? I imagine at the end of this lap, I think Monkey could probably do 2 laps before he needs to come in. G-Mac right in the slipstream of Avalon. He pulls out. He makes the move. Can he make it stick? That's the question. He does get through. He does make it stick. Avalon's going to try and come back at him, but they're both at the stage now where they're thinking about a pit stop. So how about that? So is that G-Mac learning how to fuel save, or Avalon learning how to drive like G-Mac, which is just burn through that fuel? Fuck it. I'm not paying for it anyway. 1.3 seconds. There's Wiggy. He's up to 3rd again. 1.9 behind Paz Kozas. Who's got himself up to 2nd. Of course, he'll still have to stop, as will Slipstream, who's currently the fastest man on the racetrack with a 2:17.5. And now a word from my sponsor. No, I'm joking. I am partaking in a bottle of that Jeremy Clarkson Hawkstone Lager. I'm not advertising it, they're not paying me for it. Unless they want to send me a crate, because it's awesome, it's really nice. Refreshing. Shameless advertising. Not shameless at the prices at Crazy Dave's Kebab Shop. I'm genuinely kidding. I would never advertise a kebab shop called Crazy Dave's. I would never eat a kebab shop for anyone called Crazy Dave. So Slipstream in. Paz Kozas will come in. Wiggy, what's he going to wigger do? We know that he can stay out longer. That's the thing. Quite capable of hanging that car out there for some length of time. Through the bus stop chicane he goes, and he goes straight on into the pits. G-Mac's in, Avalon's in, Wendigo into the pits. That's when he went into the pits then. Monkey Man Macho, nearly, very nearly. So bits of Monkey sprayed all over the side of the road, but he does go into the pits. So Stormfly, that's where he is. He's heading down now to the bus stop chicane. Is it enough to take the lead of this race? Was that stop 1 lap sooner enough? Or do we see them come out ahead? Now, he did fill up the tank, so if he does get out ahead, I'll tell you what, he's gone super quick. There he is. Where is Slipstream? There is Slipstream. He's just coming out of the pits now. Stormfly just coming through the source. Slipstream keeps the lead of this race and opens up a gap of 4.6 seconds as he heads, albeit on cold tyres, up to Kemmel Street he go. Stormfly in 2nd. 3 seconds back to Shady, still hanging on there in 3rd. Paz Kozas in 4th in that 911. Looking back, top 10. So there's Monkey Man Macho. That's where he's come back out. I'm still behind Fubar in that Lamborghini. Still ahead of Pleasurecraft, who is ahead of Aussie by 4.9 seconds. So the Jaguar, the GR3 Jaguar, not giving anywhere near the kind of comparative performance that we saw from the GR3 connotation of this motor car. That's interesting actually, because you would expect that, you know, you can understand the differential between like the Cayman and the 911, because essentially they're two different cars with the same manufacturer. But when you're looking at cars like the AMG, like the Jaguar, like the 4C, all of those cars, they're all essentially the same car, just with bigger engines and slightly different setups, but they're the same car. So you would have thought that across the board, comparably, they'd be roughly the same. So if it's the 5th best GR3 car or 4 car, you'd expect it to be the 4th or 5th best GR3 car. But that certainly doesn't look like the case. Day 5th, there's Wiggy. He's in that BMW and doing a good job in there actually. Qualified well and certainly knocking on the door of a potential top 3 here. He has got some excellent drivers ahead of him. He's got Shady and Paz Kozas, the 2 Lithuanian drivers, both in 3rd and 4th. He's got G-Mac behind him. G-Mac's quick, but he runs out of fuel quick too. So that's going to be Wiggy's game plan, I think, is just keep the pitty man behind him long enough to make him go into the pits again. There's your race leader. We start lap 8, 17 minutes into this 60-minute race here. Live at Spa. This is round 4 of the Black Flag GR3 Championship. Essentially, it's season 3. Got a little bit different this time. We've hooked it up with the GR4 proper. It's actually season 1 of the Open GR4, because our previous GR4 connotations have been in the form of the GR4 lottery, which I thought was relatively a success. I think the only issue we had with the GR4 lottery was some of the cars in the mix weren't all that favourable, and people that got unfavourable cars just refused to drive them. So yeah, so we've gone for a standard GR4 competition, and just to mix it up a little bit, we said, look, if you want to run the manufacturers, you've got to run the same car for both GR4 and GR3. Now, when I say the same manufacturer, let me be clear. If you're running the Nissan Silvia in one, you can't run a Nissan GTR in the other. If there is the comparable car, you've got to use it. You can't, you wouldn't say you use the Alfa Romeo 155 in GR4 or the Alfa Romeo 4C in GR3. That to me doesn't make sense. But I suppose it does say manufacturer, so if you wanted to, I suppose you could. But there's your leader. He's 5.8 seconds clear. He's running the soft compound tyres. Question mark, I wanted to go to the end. I don't think so. I think this is 2-stop all day long. We know that a lot of them made GR4 a 2-stop when it could be 1-stopped. I don't think 1-stopping is an option here. I think it's just outside the realms, unless you are incredibly brave. Or technically, Harmon is 1-stopped, but then he did get disconnected. Good evening, Jay. How the bloody hell are you all? Shady, Wicker, Slim Shady, 3.5 seconds behind Stormspire. Still hanging on in that top 3 though, keeping Paz Kozas well at bay, 4.8 seconds back. G-Mac ahead of Avalon. We can see Avalon there, but he is sticking with him, not letting G-Mac get away. There's, of course, Avalon's in the Porsche 911. What else would you expect to see him racing? Nothing is the answer to that. And I'll tell you what we can do, Patrick. You can take off the GTLM sticker and that iliketorace.com shit from that car and anything else relating to the WSR now, my friends. Because as a team, we have decided to pull out of the WSR Porsche Cup for many reasons. One is that no one's enjoying it because the driving standards are woeful. They haven't really improved over the last few weeks. No, I'm alright, Joe. I'm not too bad, mate. Not too bad at all. A little bit tired. Got a little bit of work to do tomorrow, but yeah, I'm alright overall. This sort of doing housework shit is quite difficult. I've always been quite used to, just throwing some clothes on the floor and then a fairy magically makes them clean again and puts them back where they're supposed to be. But because she's got to take it much easier than she had been and ended up with an abscess in her bloody arm, I'm having to kind of pick up the slack, which I'm not very good at. I did some washing today and tumble drying and some dishwashering, and yeah, to be fair, I can do stuff like that. She just happens to like tidying. It's one of those things. Anyway, moving swiftly on, going back to the WSR Porsche Cup. Yeah, so I mean the drivers really weren't happy with it. It was giving them. There was a couple of drivers that genuinely said they're getting anxiety in the build up to it because they know it's not going to be a very good race. So the driving standard's pretty lax. They feel that the organisers aren't really on top of those driving standards. There seems to be a level of favouritism, particularly for a couple of characters. One who I know is relatively unpopular this side of the Atlantic, shall we say, without going into too much detail. But overall, when they compare it to the other championships we're in, it's just not something they feel is worthwhile doing and is more stressful than enjoyable. At the end of the day, we've got to do this because we like to enjoy ourselves. Simple as. A bit miffed at their ambivalence to that, but it is what it is. It is what it is. GTFusion last weekend, good performance from Black Flag in that. After a penalty was handed out in one of the races, I think we've gained an extra podium, so we're somewhere, I think, double figures of podiums again. That's 2 out of 2 GTFusion championships where we've got more than 10 podiums and a win or 2 under our belt as well, which is very, very impressive, particularly considering that it's not easy, GTFusion, and we are new to the entire format. So yeah, as a team, doing very, very well. Monkey Man Macho desperately trying to find a way around Wendigo. These two are in the mix for the championship, so Wendigo is not going to do his countryman any favours here and let him through. He has no intention of allowing letting him through. I can just close the pit window thing there because everyone's pitting me. There we go, got to remember to do that. And that will be introduced into the broadcasts for this week's GT Champions after I rolled it out this week. It's 11, is that 10 including the one that Stormfly's just been awarded? Is it up to 11 now? I think it's up to 11 with that one because he's been awarded second place for the incident with Thanos, destroyer of races. Yeah, actually, to be fair, going back to the kind of WSR GTFusion thing, WSR there's 4 divisions, about 40 drivers, 50 drivers in total, something like that, right? And every week there is a great deal of stewarding inquiries. I mean, I personally, I would say there's at least 4 from the Academy division every week, at least each race. So across the 4 divisions, that's quite a lot. If you consider there were 6 in total across 20 odd groups, 200 drivers, 20 odd teams in GTFusion, it just goes to show the difference between a competition that's run based on fairness and punishing poor driving. And if you punish it right, it doesn't happen again. Simple as that. Absolutely simple as that. So that's 10 including that. Okay, still not too bad, especially considering that we only had 5 of the 10 drivers competing this time out. So actually, if you consider we got 13 podiums in week 1, we had, I think, 9 or 10 drivers competing in week number 1. Race number 2, we had 5 drivers and we got 10 podiums. So that's a significant, actually, driver on driver improvement. You cannot say fairer than that. So there we go. So Wendigo is now behind Monkey Man Macho. Monkey Man Macho got that position, but he's still got significant work to do to get himself forward. At the moment, Slipstream just dominating this race, 7.1 seconds clear he is over Stormfly VR 46. He is still second. He is still ahead of Shady, but he's a lot closer now to Shady at 3.2 seconds than he is to the current leader, who is fastest man on track with a 2:17.5 being the fastest lap in that AMG Mercedes. Boom, boom, boom. Let me say, whoa, whoa. There he is, Wicker Slim Shady. 5.1 ahead of his countryman Paz Gozas in that Porsche 911. And he's in a really solid position, because if anyone in that top three makes a mistake, he's got himself a podium, pretty much. What he needs to do is make sure that he stays ahead of the on-rushing G-Mac. And G to the Mac, the Gary McAllister, Gary McCann, Gary McDonald's. There he is in fifth place. He's 6.1 seconds behind Paz Kozas. He's not got all his own way. He has got, he's sandwiched between two Porsches actually, because he's got the Porsche of Avalon just 1.5 seconds behind him. Everyone now pretty much running those racing soft compound tyres. And we noticed as well that everybody made an effort of. I don't know. I don't think there's that many, but GT Champions is slightly different because there's only one race for each person each week, which is still pretty good. Still pretty darn good. Yeah. Oh, you obviously got second place, which is important. Sorry, what else, Jay? You did all right, mate. There was actually an announcement this week from Venom that they were going to make a final decision on how they're going to organise the groups. I'm going to be brutally honest. Right? If you're a Division 1 driver in GT Champions, and after a couple of weeks you decided to give it up because you weren't going to win it, then you're a baby. You're a little cry baby, and you don't deserve to be in Division 1 of anything, because there are drivers in Division 2 that would love to have your place. And you know, they might not. This is the irony: is there's people in Division 2 that would rather be racing in Division 1 and not stand a chance of winning the championship than be in Division 2 and be in the shoe-in for a championship, which shows the difference in mentality between cry whiny babies. Tank Slap City as Monkey Man Macho very nearly kills himself and puts Carbon Fiber all over the track, but he survives. Wiggy is in 8th position, just behind him. He's got himself ahead of Wendigo. Wendigo, he went right at the start like everybody else did. There is Wiggy in between those two Lithuanian drivers up at the moment in that BMW. A good early pace. And you can see though when he pits on lap 6. Was it lap 7? Lap 6 he pits on. Lap 7 he pits on, but he had a bad lap along the way. But since then, nice and consistent. 20.1, 20.3, 20.5 for Wiggy. Rounding out top 10, there's Fubar Freelantis. This race is not showing performance from that Lamborghini the same way it was in the GR4, unfortunately. Just not getting that same kind of performance. Neither him nor Wendigo, who currently running 9th and 10th. Andy's penis, Pleasurecraft. I'm sorry, I'm not suggesting that you're a penis, Pleasurecraft. Just that's what I would name. That's what I would like to say that my missus named my penis. What she actually names it is to get her fuck away from me. Is 4.5 seconds behind Fubar, 12.4 ahead of Aussie Rooster. Okay, mate. There is Aussie. Cock-a-doodle-doo. It's good to have you back, man. It's been a while since you've been racing. Having an absolute mare with British Telecom, who are a big bunch of thieving wank puffins. But they did eventually sort his internet out. And for that we are thankful, because we have him back racing with us. top 3 unchanged. You can see there it's Slipstream, Stormfly, Shady. Shady actually a little bit closer to Stormfly than he was last time we checked. You can see Stormfly in the distance there, just really struggling to catch up to the back of Slipstream. I'll be back very shortly to my daughter's home. It's just got loud very quickly. House is full of children. Send help immediately. Shady running in third still. He's close the gap to Stormfly. 2.9 seconds is that current gap. But there's your race leader. Slipstream has absolutely dominated thus far today as we hit the halfway point. 60 minutes is round 4 of the Black Flag GR4 Championship season number 3. We're at Belgium. And at the moment, the only driver showing any kind of chance of winning it at the moment is Slipstream. Very, very good performance thus far in the 69 car, baby. That's the car you will see doing 12 hours at Bathurst with our team of 4 on Saturday, starting from 7 a.m. Catch it. It's not going to be here on Black Flag Racing TV. We've been doing a pit crew. You can catch it on the Endurance Racing Federation YouTube page. And if you don't spend all 12 hours watching it, I'm going to send some boys round to your house to punch you right in your nads. Stormfly currently running second, still running second. Has been running second for a large swathe of this race. And he is 8.3 behind Slipstream now with Shady back out to 3.9 seconds. So he's lost a second on Stormfly there. We're pretty much coming up to the next pit window. I imagine we'll see people coming in within the next 2 or 3 laps here at Spa. We haven't done an onboard yet for a lap guide yet, have we? We'll do that in a minute. There's Paz Kozas up in the 911, running in 4th, and that's pretty much where he's been for the entire race. He hasn't really had anyone to contend with. He's got himself a nice little gap both sides, and he can just plod along, putting essentially qualifying lap after qualifying lap back to back. Biggest threat at the moment is GMAC. GMAC's about as threatening as a wet blanket on a unicorn's foot. He's not threatening at all. In fact, well, to be fair, he was having a bit of a battle with Avalon, but he has pulled out a bit of a gap now. 2.8 and 3 seconds ahead of him in that McLaren. And Avalon, of course, driving the only car that Patrick ever drives, which is the Porsche 911 RSR. You spend 75 quid on a game that has 500 cars in it, and Patrick drives one of them. Drives it very well though, to be fair. And there he is. Macho Man currently leads the GR4, leads the GR3, and leads the manufacturers competition, but he's not going to be leading shit at the end of this. He'll still be ahead of the GR4, of course, because we're not racing that today, but he won't be heading the GR3, and he won't be heading the manufacturers championship unless he can bust his way up 2 or 3 more places. He is ahead of Wiggy in the BM. That's the other car you'll see at the weekend in the Bathurst 12 hour. And Wiggy will be driving that car on that track on Saturday. He'll also be doing the qualifying on Friday, which you can catch on the RF YouTube channel from 7 p.m. I think. It's a 2-phase qualifying. Essentially, you do a qualifying session to eliminate 8th to 16th place, and then we'll be in with the rest of them because we're super quick and everyone else is dog shit. When Digo really, I can't explain it. If you consider that he was in essentially this car, the GR or the GT4 version of this car, on Monday and absolutely spanked it. Absolutely spanked it on Monday. It was pretty much untouchable. But today just can't get that car dialed in around here. It's the same track, but it's something about the car here, this setup, this track, I don't know. But he's not getting the performance, and he's down in 9th. I know usually Wendigo's a bit of a GT3 specialist, but recently it's good to see him branching out into other things, but yeah, he's not getting the performance out of this car. In fact, out of this season, really, that I would have expected. He's there or thereabouts, but I thought he would be a shoo-in for challenging for the title by this stage. There are, of course, 6 rounds left to go. Plenty of racing still to go. There's Pleasurecraft in the Mustang. He's running in 10th place. He's 16.9 seconds back from Wendigo. He's got Aussie 20.5 seconds behind him. And Fubar looks like he's had an absolute nightmare, but not too bad. Well, Fubar, actually, that's interesting. Fubar has opted to pit really, really early, but go all the way to the end. Now, we know how well that worked out for him on Monday because he's got a second step of the podium to show for it. That was an awesome performance. So can he do this again by pitting that much earlier than everyone else, putting on the medium tyres and just running right to the end of this race? I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if he was there or thereabouts. He's 1 minute 47 seconds off the leader at the minute, but there's still plenty of racing to go. Look, 25 minutes left. There is the race leader, 8.7 seconds. He's managing that gap very, very well to Stormfly, who just can't seem this week with this track. Couldn't win on Monday, and seems to be not. I say, look, how much can you be struggling when you're driving second? Let's be fair. How much can you be struggling when you're second in the championship and second on the racetrack? But that said, you considering his early dominance, you would have expected to see him at least a bit closer to the back of Slipstream. But at the moment, 8.4 seconds back. And while he is pulling away from Shady, though, he's not going to be picking up any Slipstream, which is what he kind of wants to do. But he'll be pitting this lap. So his pit window is open for everyone. Let's have a look at Monkey. Where's Monkey? There he is. Monkey Macho Man. It's never going to get boring playing that song over his name. He is 5.6 clear of Wiggy. Will he pit this lap, or has he got enough fuel to go one more? He's probably got enough to go one more, but I don't think he will. I think he'll come in. The last thing he wants to do is to have to fuel save, compromise a little bit while he's running in 7th. What he really wants to do is get off after Avalon and try and fight a way into that top 5 to minimise the point loss today. Anything to minimise that point loss. I've gone completely the wrong way because I wanted to go that way. G-Mac there. He is 4.9 seconds ahead of Avalon now. Avalon just hasn't been able to get that 911 up behind G-Mac. And here's the kicker, right? So G-Mac is well known for his inability to look after tyres or fuel and having to pit more than everybody else. But actually, I think he's learned something because he's up into the top 3 now because people have had to pit sooner than him. I never thought I would see the day when G-Mac was not the first into the pits. I think I can die a happy man now because I've genuinely seen everything there is to see. Done. I'm done. Avalon in the 911. He's using that WSR Porsche Cup 1, which is going to go in the bin. Put it in the bin because we pulled out of the WSR Porsche Cup, of course. What else is coming up this week? We've got some Smoking Pirelli's F1 for you tomorrow. That's it. Just Smoking Pirelli's F1 tomorrow. I was going on, it was going to be something else. Nothing else tomorrow. Just Smoking Pirelli's F1. We might have something special for you Friday with some more F1. We might have something else. Who knows? Who knows? I haven't heard what's occurring Friday yet. So I'll let you know. Saturday, of course, there's no Staying Power Endurance Series this Saturday because we will be doing the ERF 12-hour bar first. So we can't expect the guys challenging for a championship, excuse me, in Staying Power to do their 2 to 4 hours of driving there, and then have to do another couple of hours for our own internal endurance thing. Armin's got disconnected on about lap 3, Ricardus. He went into the pits. He was doing his usual smart little strategy of pitting miles before anybody else, and then he just disappeared, poof, into oblivion, never to be seen again. Like Harry Houdini, he went. Maybe he'll pop up like Harry Houdini in first. Who knows? Slipstream leading the way over Pascoe. That's 19.2 seconds is that gap. He will need to pit though. Well, pit windows firmly open, so end of either this lap 18 or certainly the end of the next lap, lap 19, as we head into the last 20 minutes of this race. 9 laps remain. 9 laps between Slipstream winning GR3 and relegating Stormfly to another second place, which he'll be devastated about, absolutely devastated. And this gap's going to be huge because G-Mac and Paz Kozas and Avalon and Wiggy all into the pits. So Stormfly is there. He's 54.3 seconds behind Slipstream as it stands. If Slipstream comes in, that's the time he's got to make up to try and close. He's running the medium tyres again. Or did he start? No, he started on the soft, so he has to run the medium tyres. As to Slipstream, Slipstream has to run the medium tyres because he hasn't run them either. So they both got to run the mediums in the final stint. Interesting, said the blind man, for whatever reason. So Slipstream does stay out for one more lap. The gap is 54.4 seconds. Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? Regardless, Jay's watching it from his work as well. And yeah, it's horrible when you have to watch a race you really want to be in, but you are you have to work for the man. You have to make the man some money, so the man can give you some money, and then you can buy more games. Or if you really want to, you can buy some merch from the Black Flag merch store. Links in the description. Right. Well, did I just see Fubar up ahead there? Surely not. There is Fubar Philantis. He stopped earlier. He's been lapped by Slipstream. He stopped very early. Has Aussie ahead of him stopped? Yes, he has. So he's got loads and loads of work to do. Fubar. He's on the medium compound tyres. Aussie on those soft, so it's not working for Fubar today. It's not Fubar's day. And to be fair, with a 2:37.1, he cost himself 16 seconds on that previous lap, and he's not going to be happy with that at all, because that was the difference between being 12th and being chasing down Pleasure Craft. Which is what happens when my missus wants some loving. Wendigo Monkey Man still running 8th and 9th, just not making any dent into that midfield at all. So no big points for these guys today. So Slipstream is in. Everybody is pit bar Slipstream. So we'll see just how that's worked out for him. So here he goes. So he's out. He's back out of the pits. And heading up the hill. The gap is 19 seconds. That is the chase down target for Stormfly. 15 seconds. And behind Paz Kozas. Paz Kozas has made that move on Wicker Shady, and he's up to 3rd. I said earlier, plodding around there in 4th. He just needs a mistake. He needs someone to do something wrong. And I tell you what Shady did. He underfueled for the last 20 minutes of this race, and Pasco's got plenty on board. Stormfly more than plenty on board. Actually, quite and unusually for Stormfly, really overfueled, really overfueled, because the first 20 minutes of this race you could easily do with half a tank of fuel, which most people did. He's gone 3/4. Now that could be because he wants to go hammer time, and but he's going to have to do. Essentially, so what we're looking at, we're on lap 19, so 8 more laps. So he basically needs 2 seconds a lap. Will give him enough time to catch and possibly pass. That's what he needs to do. He needs to be 2 seconds a lap quicker than Slipstream currently is. Slipstream is the fastest man on the racetrack, however. So that is much easier said than done. Last lap for Slipstream. We won't have a representative for a couple of laps because he went into the Pizzicles. But Stormfly did a 2:19.9, which is Right, so if those mediums are really 2.4 seconds off the pace, is it possible that Pascozas, running in third, could close this down? Now, if he can do 18.4s, he's only 4 seconds behind Stormfly. Stormfly's biggest problem might not be can he catch Slipstream, it's can he stop Pascozas. And GMAC as well, I think GMAC is also on the soft compound tyres, and he's doing low 19s. So basically, and that's his fastest, to be fair. So actually, I think Stormfly's going to be alright from GMAC because he's doing medium pace on the soft compound tyre because he sucks. And just because he's advertising cigarettes as well. Your car's going to give people cancer. Apparently so. So, lap 20, with 15 minutes left to go, the gap is still 14.5 seconds. It's a big ask from here. Down the middle, Monkey Man Macho, 3.4 seconds to the back of Wiggy. Is there enough pace? I mean, he's well over field as well. Is there enough pace in that Jaguar to close on the BMW M6 of Wiggy, who is running in 7th? And Shady really losing out. Now remember, Shady was in that top 3 for so long. Over half this race, he was in the top 3. He's had a little bit of a problem, and now he's back in 6th behind Avalon. He's really close to the back of Avalon and could potentially be knocking on Avalon's door. Yeah. But who knows? Who knows if he's got the guile and the wherewithal and the skill and the pace to get past Avalon. Avalon's not the sort of driver you just throw your car up the inside. Avalon will keep you behind him as long as possible because he loves to push back on you. I was probably going to go there and I was probably going to commit to that, and then I decided actually I'm not going to do that. Plus the fact I laughed at myself, which doesn't really work if you're going to try and play it straight, which I was. So Shady's got the run on Avalon, heading down towards this penalty line around Blanchimont and to complete lap 20. And I think it's only Fubar that's been lapped thus far. Maybe Aussie's not actually. Around the outside, like the two Trailer Park girls. Up the inside. Nope and nope. Down to the bus stop chicane they go. He picks up a penalty. Oh no! So that means he's going to have to try and get ahead of Avalon now and make himself a gap. Was that a little get out of my way from Avalon? Or, I don't know. It looked a little bit kind of shovey to me. Someone's been racing too much time in the WSL Cup, my friend. Right, anyway, on the power, he goes to head up the hill for the 21st time. Can this time he make the move on Avalon? He had a little go before the bus stop chicane. He's going to have another opportunity here. A great exit out of Eau Rouge, and Avalon trying to hold him off. Almost caught him trying to force him onto the grass there. Naughty Patrick. Well, we fucking caught you that time, my friend. Can't do it, man. You can't do it. You're not allowed to do that. So, fastest lap, or fastest sector from Shady. Is he going to pull out fastest lap of this race? Slipstream Stormfly still lead. Pascoza still third. GMAX still fourth. This is Shady on a bit of a charge. He's got past Avalon. Avalon can't stick with him, and Shady disappears off into the sunset with the girl. 15.5 seconds. So far from catching him, Slipstream's opening up that gap. And luckily for Stormfly, though, his focus on chasing Slipstream has allowed him to open 7.3 seconds up on Pascozas. So if you can't finish first, try and finish second. Unless there's two in the race, then finish first or you're a loser. No, I'm only kidding. The thing is, someone's got to win and someone's got to lose. And because it's not me in the room, it's going to be one of you. Simple as. Pascozas running in third. Great Great performance from him. The way that light shines off of his visor as he comes around the corner, that makes it look like he's got a fag on the go. I'm sure he hasn't. Well, he may well do. Fubar still behind Aussie. 6.4 seconds is the gap he's closing. Last couple of laps, 21.0, 21.2. Aussie with a 22.2 and a 21.5. Not too dissimilar in pace from these boys. Is there a battle to be had here? Is there a mistake in Aussie and a hot lap in Fubar just to bring those two together? Potentially. Who knows? You decide. Welcome to Big Brother. Do not say fuck or bugger. Pleasure Craft is in 10th, 13 seconds behind Wendigo, who's really struggled today. And Pleasure Craft has given me finally the opportunity. I haven't had the opportunity all day to say this, but you can't park that there, mate.
You can't park that there, mate.
So there he is in 10th position. Wendigo. Wendy didn't go today, 9th place. Despite the fact he actually changed out that strategy of stopping 11 times in every race, but it still didn't help because he just didn't have the pace to match. His pace on those mediums has been very steady in those 21, 21.6, 21.4, but you can see there on the softs, pace wasn't much different. Same for Monkey Man Match, although he's in the 2:19.0s now, but that's the kind of pace he needed to put in earlier on in the race, because he's dropped down into 8th position, and that gap to Wiggy, 9.4 seconds. The more this clock ticks down, he's basically got to do 1 second for every minute left in this race. In fact, more than that, 1.5 seconds pretty much for every minute left in this race. Wiggy, 3.4 to Shady. Can he chase in there? Because Shady is behind Avalon yet again. Now, is that a mistake? Yes, it is. He made a mistake at 27.8. So he did all that work to get past Avalon and then made another mistake. So overdriving the car is costing him, at the moment it's cost him at least 2 positions, maybe 3 if Wiggy can get involved in that battle there. And in order for him to get involved, Avalon's got to keep Shady behind him for a little while. Can he do that? He's going to have him behind him in the slipstream coming up that Kemmel Straight very soon. The G to the Mac. He drives a car and it's whack. It's 5.1 seconds behind Paz Kozas. I think we find everyone. I think we can safely say, apart from that kind of Wiggy, Avalon, Shady thing, and Shady now up to 5th. Although Avalon's going to get a really good run on him here. This could potentially be a good little battle going on right now as we head up the hill. I want to look on board with Wiggy actually, because actually Wiggy's not as close as he looked. Didn't get such a good run out of the source, so out of that he is with 2.6 seconds. So Avalon's got that slipstream. Can he make it work? Well, it actually looks a little bit like Shady in the other 911 was just starting to pull away. And who the hell is that looking at my door? It's like Piccadilly fucking Circus in here today. Delivery. Who fucking delivers at this time of night? Go home. Go the fuck home. Right, Avalon is getting a run on Shady. Didn't get it done round. Up the Kemmel Straight. Does now round Pouon. Up ahead he goes. Pouon. He poos on him and he gets ahead into 5th position. So we are 5 minutes from the end of this race. In the lead, it is Slipstream. Slipstream, and he leads by 15.3 Great British seconds. Ahead of Stormfly, who is 5.9 ahead of Paz Kozas, running in 3rd in the Porsche 911 RSR. What does the RSR stand for? Really stupidly rich. because that's what you have to be to own fucking one of them. Oh yeah, no, I suppose you don't be stupidly rich, just relatively wealthy. G-Mac in that McLaren, 5.2 seconds ahead of Pascal. That's a good performance in that McLaren. One can only wonder where Arminis may have been. Remember, Arminis pulled out his little cheeky strategy of pitting really early. I wonder where he would have been had he not been disconnected at the end of lap 3 and was still in this race. Would he be up there with G-Mac? Well, potentially, because we can see that the car's got that performance. Shady still ahead. Well, Wiggy's ahead of Avalon now, and chasing down Shady, and that gap is down to just 0.8 of a second. We can see there from Avalon. Look at the battle ahead now, so much closer, and you can see that BMW M6 getting so close to the back of that 911, sandwiched between two 911s now, and can Wiggy make both of them look stupid? Or is he going to get caught by Avalon and have to sit in behind? That'll be interesting. So a top 5 is the prize for Wiggy if he can just get ahead of Shady. Shady's not going to want to give this up. In fact, Shady's got every right to be disappointed, because he was for 35 minutes of this race in that top 3 and comfy, very comfy, like a cuddly tiger in a pillow. But now he is 7.2 seconds behind this man here, and desperately trying to find some way to stay out of the clutches of Wiggy in the BMW. The gap just opened up a touch, not significantly, but just a little touch, as he's starting now to ramp it up. And he got a great exit out there, and he's getting so close as they come towards this bus stop chicane. Can he make a move into the bus stop as they come to finish lap 24 of what will be, for the front runners, certainly a 26 lap race? Will these guys get a 26th lap? That's the question. It's going to be darn close, and I think they might get one more after this. They crossed the line. That's a 2:18.3. That's the fastest he's gone all day. And we can see him now closing, ever closing on the back of Shady. There's Aussie. He's running in 11th ahead of Fubar. The gap's down to 4.4 seconds. But how long will it stay like that? Will Fubar have? Does he have a little blast to catch him up? Because those front tyres of Aussie not looking great. Potentially crashy, those tyres. There's your race leader, 15.2 seconds clear. Nothing to see here. It's a time trial for him today. Stormfly, it's also a time trial for him, but not quite as quickly. He's 7.3 ahead of Paz Kozas. Paz Kozas still got 3.8 seconds over G-Mac, who's got 6.666, the number of the seconds that he's ahead of Shady. Well, what can you say? But 6.4 seconds to G-Mac. Now 2.2 seconds back to Wiggy, who not only has lost time, but picked up a penalty to boot. So that 2:18.3, his fastest lap of the race, is followed by not such a great lap. Talking of not great laps, Avalon's not having a great time. He is 9.5 seconds back. He was 0.8 this time, just one lap ago. Monkey Man Macho, not his day today. This might end up being one of the drop rounds for him, you know. It's not his usual sterling performance, and certainly not going to be in the mood to dance to this. Not in the slightest. Wendigo running in 9th again, he's not going to be happy with the performance today. There is a Pleasure Craft, 14.9 ahead of Aussie, and then 1.1 to Fumar. So maybe, just maybe, there is, let me take you to the food bar. I want to take you to the food bar, food bar, food bar. As he closes on Aussie. Rooster, rooster, rooster. I'm actually going to play that and sing it next time. I can't believe I've only just got that connection between that really odd song and Fubar. So here we have it. And Fubar closing as Monkey Man Macho finishes in 8th. Let's see what these guys closing at finishing. As Avalon finishes in 7th. Where's Slipstream? Still a bit of a ways to go for him. 9th and 10th we went Digo and Pleasure Craft. Aussie, can he hold on? Can he hold on? There is Wendigo. He crossed the line. He finishes in 9th place. 10th place is going to be a Pleasure Craft, who is 14 seconds ahead of Aussie. But there is a battle there. There is a battle raging on. And there it is as they head down Blanchimont for the final time in this GR3 Open Series. Series 3, of course, the current holder, Kevin, has pulled out of the series. And will put out as a reigning champion. Well, you can't be reigning champion if you're not here to defend it. So he's not the reigning champion. There is no champion because the champion has left this tournament. But there is what will be your eventual race leader, and a very, very solid race from the outset from him. Looked really quick all day long. Looked really quick in qualifying, and quick again here at Spa today. This is the combination of race number 4 in the series. And yeah, plenty to still be getting on with. So, Slipstream crosses the line, home in 2nd. That's going to be Stormfly. Good solid performance there. What he wants though is that gap on Monkey Man Macho. That's the important thing out of today. Paz Kozas coming home in 3rd. Very well deserved podium finish for him. G-Mac just outside the podium places in 4th. Wicker Shady does hold off Star Group for 5th place. But bearing in mind that he was 3rd for 35 minutes, he will be absolutely devastated at that, as he puts in a 2:17.7 in his previous lap as well. Wiggy comes home. He's run out of fuel pushing, but that won't matter because Avalon has already finished. So he got lap 26. And he's going to run out of fuel at the end. So next week actually is we're going to the track where we have a corner named after this man here, Yamigiwa in reverse, the home of Wiggy's Wiggler, so named because he had a tank slap around there once. That's it. That's how easy it is to get a name on a track these days. They gave that Bell End Lewis Hamilton a name on Silverstone, didn't they? Call it the Hamilton Straight. Believe me, he's not. It's Le Mans on the 17th of May, then Tokyo Expressway the following week. Willow Springs, a Big Willow, Brands Hatch, and then Barcelona rounds us out on the 14th of June when we will crown a GR4 champion, a GR3 champion, and a manufacturer's champion, all in one. So, who wins what? Slipstream in the Mercedes AMG GT3 wins with the fastest lap at a 2:17.5. Stormfly in the 4C was in 2nd. Paz Kozas from Lithuania in the 911 RSR was in 3rd. G-Mac in that 650S sandwich between Paz Kozas and Shady in the other 911, and then it's like a club sandwich almost. And in that club sandwich, they've got 911 as the bread and a 650S in the top half, and an M6 GT3 in 6th with Star Route in it. Then Avalon, of course, in his RSR makes up the rest of the sandwich in 7th. Monkey Man Macho couldn't get that car dialed in, couldn't get that F-Type up into the top 3. Finishes in a disappointing for him 8th position. Disappointing also for Wendigo in that Huracan, finishing in 9th. Pleasure Craft in the Mustang in 10th. Aussie Cockadoodle Dooster in the F-Type finishes in 11th. Fubar couldn't close on Aussie and finishes in 12th. And Arminis got a DNF, disconnected really early on in this race in that 650S. So there we bloody well have it. We are done for another week. How about that? it's Smoking Pirelli's tomorrow if you want to catch some F1 action. But the next GT7 action you're going to see here on Black Flag Racing TV will be on, well, no, you won't see it on Black Flag Racing TV, but you will see it on YouTube, will be the ERF. Then we're back obviously on Saturday evening with the usual shenanigans. We've got GT Champions Division 2 only. I'm not doing Division 1 this week, I don't think. Or am I doing 2 and 3 again? Oh, I can't remember. I think I'm going to go Division 2. Because I think Taxi's back, she's doing Division 1, and Chris will be doing Division 3, so I'll be doing Division 2 only, so that'll be interesting. I'll probably fall asleep and then we'll do that. And then nothing on Sunday, and then back to the GR4 on Monday. All that's left to say is thank you very much for joining me. Congratulations to the winner today. Good to see him back to form. Slipstream wins from Stormfly. I've been Adam Pirate. This has been Black Flag Racing TV with the Open GR3. It's been emotional.